Yo, 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 what's up, peeps? So today I'm going to bring you a video about Tron Walkers versus a Super Aggro deck. The name it goes by is typically 8 Ball. And an amazing opponent named One Shot will be the one that's playing this deck today. Now, he happened to check out my Magic the Gathering stream on Twitch, and he liked what he was seeing, so he started providing some feedback as to what he thinks should change. And hey, this is somebody who's playing a deck that requires a lot of fine tuning and a lot of gameplay. So, I took what he said to heart, and I have gone ahead and made some changes that he suggested, which I'll talk about in my next video. But right now, I'm just gonna play a game against him and just show you all what he's playing and how our game interaction went. Now, typically, if I go against an opponent who has one win condition, usually their deck can be like super fine tuned and just absolutely amazing at what it does. In this case, my opponent is dealing combat damage. So, let's go ahead and watch this video. By the way, Nicol Bolas here would be the better way to point. Still absolutely the best Planeswalker image I can find. And the fact that he's, trying to absorb all the Planeswalker's powers just puts the icing on the cake for me. Let's go ahead and share this video. Okay. I guess I really don't need the chat log, huh? Granted, nothing was said in the chat log besides just that he missed the land drop. Because while we were playing this game, he was checking my stream out. Granted, not stream sniping. No, gotta give credit where credit's due. He's a great Magic the Gathering player. Alright, let's see. I don't think I went off to the point where I needed this space for my videos at, so... Alright, let's play this. So, Tron Walkers versus 8 Ball. So, started out with 7 cards. Like y'all know, that's pretty rare for me because I'm playing combo here, so... I tend to mulligan until I can get Tron for sure. But in this case, I have 2 pieces of Tron and some fetches and stuff, so I went ahead and kept. So opponent started out with a land, Bird of Paradise. For me, it was a Power Plant and Chromatic Sphere. Then this is where the Super Aggro in my opponent's deck starts coming in. Turn 3, Ball of Lightning. Granted, I'm happy it was Ball of Lightning and not Skelemental or something. So that's dealing 6 damage on turn 2. Next turn for me was just a tower. And I cracked a sphere just to see what I would draw. And pass back to my opponent. Then out came a Pelt Collector. Now for me, the Pelt Collector was pretty awesome. Because that means the game kind of slowed down a little bit. Like if he had got Skelemental there, I would have been kind of hurting. And then I top decked the last piece of Tron, so that was absolutely amazing. Now, since I knew that my opponent was playing a deck where he required a lot of, big attackers, I was like, let me limit him real quick. And Ensnaring Bridge is just the absolute best way to stop combat damage from, one permanent, if that's what your opponent's using. Now, like y'all know, it's usually a 2-part lock for me. It's usually Ensnaring Bridge and Silent Arbiter. But of course, I can only get 1 of 2 on the field this turn. So, my opponent dealt combat damage only to me at this point, which for me was kind of scary in a way, because it meant that I could potentially die next turn. But I know I needed to do something to make sure only one of his creatures could attack. So I went ahead and I fetched Silent Arbiter from my sideboard with Karn. And then I put it onto the battlefield. And then I went ahead and played my doubling season. Granted, I had no win condition in hand at this point, so I am just going with the flow here. Then my opponent played a Collected Company and Thunderkin Awakener. Now, lucky for me, the Skelemental was on the battlefield at this point and not in the graveyard, so I was pretty good on my end. Then, of course, you know, when he attacks with Thunderkin Awakener, it brings back Ball of Lightning from his graveyard to the battlefield. So, with the Ball of Lightning coming back to the battlefield, tapped and attacking, it gets underneath my bridge. So, since it gets under my bridge, I was like, man, I gotta figure out a way to stop that. And of course, I'm gonna block Ball of Lightning here because I only have 6 life, and it deals 6 damage. So here, both Skelemental and Ball of Lightning get sacrificed. So now I pretty much gotta try to find a way to win. Best choice I had at this point in time was to play Karn and then use Karn to go fetch something. But here I was like, man, what can I fetch that will actually stop my opponent? And then I was like, okay, why don't I just go ahead and fetch Walking Ballista? Now the reason for Walking Ballista is I could just use Walking Ballista to just ping his creatures for damage. And, you know, that should make it to where he ends up running out of fuel. And then let's see, I went ahead and played a tower that turn, I think. And then casted Walking Ballista for 8. So it would come out with 4 counters on it. But because I have doubling season, it comes out with 8 counters instead. Then I just went ahead and killed all his creatures that I could get through for damage. And then the goal here was to save Walking Ballista in case he played another Thunderkin Awakener or something. And then if he was going to attack, I would just go ahead and ping the creature for 1 damage until it dies. In this case, he got no Thunderkin Awakener. And then this is the point I realized, oh, I actually have enough mana to play Planar Bridge and then use the bridge to go fetch a Planeswalker. So, because I had enough mana to do both, I just went ahead and, you know, of course, fetched Samut the Tested. And then after Samut the Tested, like y'all know, go ahead and fetch my 2 combo pieces, Jace, Cunning Castaway, and Nicol Bolas. Made some copies of Bolas, and that's where game 1 ended. So, you know, pretty good opponent here. And for me, I just barely happened to get my lockdown on the field to where I could win the game. My video is in the way right there. Let's see about here. So yeah. That was an extremely good first game though. The second game though, I think is even closer. So, if y'all like game 1, y'all could go ahead and check out the video on game number 2. Actually, you know what, why don't I just go ahead and record them both at the same time here. Alright, so this is game number 2. So starting out, he went first, of course, because he lost the first game, so he chooses to go first or not. For me, I'm mulliganing down like I'm crazy again. And of course, 2 pieces of Tron end up in my hand, so that means that I'm going to keep the hand. Now, my opponent, once again, Belt Collector comes out pretty early on in the game, which is kind of a relief for me on one end. But on the other end, I know that with his Belt Collector, every time a creature enters the battlefield or dies, it gets stronger. Actually, I think it's just... yeah. Oh, I guess if it enters the battlefield with more power. So a Thunderkin Awakener did not make the Belt Collector trigger here. Which, like I said, was amazing for me at this point. Also, the fact that I didn't see any lightning skelementals or anything on turn 2 was pretty amazing. And then when he played his next Belt Collector, I was all kinds of surprised, honestly. But, let's see. After that, I went ahead and cracked the Sphere. And just went ahead and fetched my Tron, of course. Oh, actually, no, I didn't fetch Tron. I went ahead and fetched Forest, because I had an Oath in hand and I wanted to play Oath. And then with the Oath, I ended up getting the last piece of Tron. Okay. You know what, let me look at this game log, because I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing here. Okay. Yes, I used the Sylvan Scrying to go get a mine. But I had a Forest in my hand. I played the Forest to play the Oath, because I couldn't do anything else really. And I know I needed at least 8 mana to play both Karn Great Creator and Silent Arbiter. So, yeah. Now that that's all cleared up, let's get back to the game. So, from there, I went ahead and, you know, passed turn. Because at this point in time, I know mainly my opponent was going to attack with multiple creatures. And then the Skelemental came. And like you know, Skelemental triggers both Pelt Collectors. On top of that, Thunderkin Awakener can bring him back next turn. So for me, the goal here was, how do I try to survive until next turn? The best answer was, you know, to go ahead and put Silent Arbiter out there. So where only one creature can attack. Because even if I got like a walking ballista, I would still be dead to combat damage, because his Pelt Collectors had enough power to kill me next turn. So I had to make sure he could only attack with one creature here. And of course, Thunderkin Awakener brings back Skelemental, which triggers his Pelt Collectors again, so they get stronger. When he attacks, like you all can imagine, I'm going to block his Skelemental here, because I really have no other choice. So I block his Skelemental, take 1 damage from it, and then I have to discard 2 cards, which is my entire hand at this point. And then I ended up drawing Tamio Field Researcher. Now the goal here was to put Ensnaring Bridge down and clear my hand, Because if I have no cards in hand, that means my opponent cannot attack me with his Thunderkin Awakener, which will bring back his Skelemental. So since I knew he couldn't attack here, I felt a little bit safe. So, you know, just go along doing normal Tron things here. I got a Sylvan Scrying, and I had to check the game log to see if I had played a land already. Before I went ahead and played the land. Then I upticked my Blast Zone to 2. This is all while I'm constantly upticking Tameo every turn. Because I want to ultimate Tameo. That way, you know, I could pretty much go off and win the game. So at this point in time, I go ahead and ultimate Tameo. I draw Liliana off the Veil. Echo Bolt's Dragon God, and I have Kind Great Creator in hand. This is one place I messed up. I played my second Kind Great Creator before activating the ability of the first one. So that was a slight misplay on my end. But I also realized I had enough mana to go ahead and put the planar bridge out and use my mana to tap it to bring something out. And the main reason now I had enough mana there is I can cast cards for free. So this point in time, you can imagine I'm just going through assembling the combo here. Finally, go ahead and get doubling season out here. Then I put Liliana out there. Then I put Nicol Dragon God in play. And that was game number 2. So overall for me, Silent Arbiter, Ensnaring Bridge Lock works against Super Aggro. But if you check out the field right quick, let's see. This creature is at 5 power. This creature is at 5 power again. And then he's got a creature at 3. And then, of course, you know, Birds of Paradise. So here you can see my opponent has way more than enough damage to kill me on board. Like, the only reason I ended up winning this game is because the Ensnaring Bridge worked. And he did not draw his answer for it. Now, his answers are pretty much, you know, stuff to destroy target artifact, which he did sideboard in. He just was unfortunate and did not get any. But my plan worked to try to stop his, you know, super aggro deck. And in his case, he just got a little bit unlucky because he did not draw an answer. But nonetheless, for me, it's absolutely amazing that he plays something that's so focused and he's really good at playing it. Like, the deck, it doesn't have a lot that it can do, but it's absolutely amazing in what it does do. So when he started providing feedback to me in the chat about, you know, suggesting replacing certain planeswalkers, I took it to heart, because when you're hearing something from someone who is extremely good at what they do, it makes you have to take it seriously, because they are just thinking about how to fine-tune something and make it faster. So, and those are two things I know that my deck needs to have some more speed, and it needs to be fine-tuned just a little bit. So, hearing Hollis' comments, I went ahead and changed some stuff, and they have been working amazingly so far. Now, I'm gonna go through the chat, and for sure, I might end up making a command for his name. That way, if anyone wants to, you know, check out his video or anything, they could just type it in the chat. But yeah, this game was absolutely amazing. Recommend some amazing changes. I went ahead and took it to heart, and then my stream, thought about it overnight. Woke up the next day, implemented those changes, and they have absolutely been working for me. So today I'm gonna play some games in the Mana Traders League, and depending how that goes, I might be uploading a couple more videos on that. The first video I'm going to upload though is the new and improved Tron Walkers, thanks to my man One Shot here. And going against Burn. House Burn. Which, hey, to me I found it interesting. So yeah, if y'all want to see that cool match, just stay tuned. I will have that up a little later on today. And since I know y'all like this image of Bolus too, you know, go ahead and check it up real quick. Alright, see y'all in the next one, peeps.